The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, finds itself at a critical juncture following the elimination of rookie sensation Caitlin Clark and her team, the Indiana Fever, from the playoffs. The league, which had been riding high on Clark's unprecedented popularity, is now grappling with a potential viewership crisis that threatens to undo the remarkable progress made during her brief but impactful tenure. As the dust settles on Clark's playoff exit, the WNBA must confront some hard truths about its future and the sustainability of its recent growth. The Caitlin Clark effect. Caitlin Clark's entry into the WNBA brought a seismic shift to the league, transforming it from a niche sports organization to a mainstream attraction almost overnight. The numbers tell a staggering story of her impact. Just 2 years ago, the average home attendance for WNBA games hovered around a modest 1,800 fans. Fast forward to this year, and that figure has exploded to an astounding 177,000.
2 years ago, their home attendance was 1,800 fans. Their average this year, home attendance, is 17,000. That's almost 10 times. And, of course, the big difference is Caitlin Clark.
This nearly tenfold increase is a feat rarely witnessed in professional sports, let alone in a league that has struggled for widespread recognition since its inception. Clark's ability to draw crowds and media attention was unparalleled in WNBA history. She single-handedly thrust the league into the spotlight, captivating audiences and dominating sports headlines in a way that few female athletes have managed to do. The 2023 season, buoyed by Clark's star power, became the most viewed in the WNBA's 28-year history. This wasn't just a slight uptick in interest. It was a full-blown revolution in how the public perceived and engaged with women's professional basketball. But Clark's impact extended far beyond mere numbers. She brought a style of play and a level of excitement that the WNBA had been desperately seeking for years. Her long-range three-pointers, reminiscent of NBA stars like Steph Curry, became must-see TV. Her pinpoint passing drew comparisons to some of the greatest playmakers in basketball history. And her fierce competitive spirit, often manifesting in heated on-court exchanges and passionate celebrations, resonated with fans across the country. Clark wasn't just a great player, she was a cultural phenomenon, bridging the gap between die-hard basketball fans and casual viewers who had previously shown little interest in the women's game. The Caitlin Clark effect wasn't limited to the court or the stands. It permeated every aspect of the WNBA's operations and public perception. Merchandise sales skyrocketed, with Clark's jersey becoming a hot commodity overnight. Social media engagement soared, with clips of her performances going viral and generating millions of views across platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. This digital presence brought the WNBA to a younger, more diverse audience that the league had been struggling to capture for years. Moreover, Clark's popularity attracted new sponsors to the league. Companies that had previously overlooked the WNBA as a marketing opportunity were suddenly clamoring to be associated with the excitement surrounding Clark and the league as a whole. This influx of sponsorship dollars provided a much-needed financial boost to a league that has often struggled to compete with its male counterpart in terms of resources and exposure. Fan backlash and boycott threats. With Clark's unexpected early exit from the playoffs, the WNBA now faces a potential exodus of viewers that threatens to undo much of the progress made during her rookie season. Social media platforms have been ablaze with comments from disgruntled fans, openly stating their intention to tune out now that Clark is no longer playing. Many of these viewers are expressing their plans to return to watching other sports, particularly the NFL, which stands to benefit from this shift in viewer attention. This reaction from fans raises important questions about the sustainability of the WNBA's recent growth. Was the increased viewership merely a fleeting phenomenon tied to one player's popularity? Or did Clark's presence help create a new, lasting fan base for women's basketball? The prevailing sentiment among many critics is that the WNBA may revert to its pre-Clark state of low viewership.
A lot of the Indiana Fever fans or Caitlin Clark fans that you speak of are no longer going to watch the WNBA now that the Indiana Fever are out.
A fear that isn't entirely unfounded, given the dramatic increase in interest that coincided with Clark's arrival. Adding to the league's challenges is the perception among some critics that the WNBA might use Clark's absence as an opportunity to label her fan base as problematic or not true WNBA fans. This potential narrative could further alienate new viewers who were drawn to the league primarily because of Clark, creating a rift between longtime supporters and this new wave of fans. The backlash highlights a delicate balance that the WNBA must strike. On one hand, the league needs to find ways to retain the new audience that Clark brought in, showing them that there's more to women's basketball than just one star player. On the other hand, they must be careful not to alienate their core fan base, who have supported the league through thick and thin, by overemphasizing Clark's impact or importance. Record-breaking performance.
Appears that Caitlin Clark fans have listened. Last night, I received the ratings for the first round of games for the Chase for the Golden Toilet. As expected, darkness is coming. The spotlight is rapidly fading.
During her brief time in the league, Clark shattered numerous records, cementing her status as one of the most impactful rookies in WNBA history. Her list of achievements reads like a career retrospective rather than the accomplishments of a first-year player.
And then the moment the ratings tank, they're going to come back and say, see, we were right all along. It's all the racists that follow Caitlin Clark that were watching the product, and now they're gone, and we're back with our diehards. And that's the ratings that you're seeing. Actual W fans, not WNBA, actual W fans.
Let me get it right.
That's going to be the argument.
Clark set new benchmarks for points scored by a rookie and a point guard in a single WNBA season, surpassing expectations and outshining many veteran players in the process. She became the first rookie to record multiple triple-doubles, a feat that showcases her versatility and all-around impact on the game.
Caitlin Clark came in and made such an impact on how many people started to care about the WNBA. This was the highest viewed season in the history of the league.
Clark's shooting prowess was particularly noteworthy as she became the fastest player in league history to reach 100 three-pointers, accomplishing this milestone in just 34 games. This sharpshooting ability not only set her apart from her peers, but also changed the way teams had to defend against her, often altering entire game plans to account for her long-range threat. Clark's dominance was recognized through multiple accolades throughout the season. She earned Rookie of the Month honors 4 times and was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week on 3 separate occasions. Perhaps most impressively, she became the first player in WNBA history to be named both Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month.
It is not just a delusional fan base who is just delusional, but they're not really tuning in. No, these people are coming in waves to watch one player who has sold out every single arena that she has played in this season.
A testament to her immediate impact on the league. Beyond individual games, Clark's season-long performance set new standards for rookies in the WNBA. She established new single-season records for assists and three-pointers by a rookie, demonstrating that her impact went far beyond just scoring. Her ability to create opportunities for her teammates while also being a scoring threat herself made her a nightmare for opposing defenses and a joy for basketball purists who appreciate the finer points of the game.
Caitlin Clark every single night play basketball. I'm that fascinated with her mind, her toughness, obviously her shooting ability. I think she might have cracked my top 5 all time, and that's men or women.
All time?
Yes. I'm going MJ's in that category. Steph Curry is in that category. If Caitlin Clark goes in there, man, and Larry Bird will be the other guy. That's my 5.
These records aren't just numbers. They represent a level of performance that transcends typical rookie expectations. Clark didn't just compete, she dominated, often outshining veteran players who had been in the league for years. Her rookie campaign will likely be remembered as one of the most impressive debut seasons in the history of professional basketball, regardless of gender. Viewership impact. The numbers paint a stark picture of Clark's influence on WNBA viewership, highlighting just how significant her impact on the league's popularity has been. The Indiana Fever's playoff game, featuring Clark, drew an impressive 1.8 million viewers. To put this in perspective, this single game attracted more viewers than the next 3 playoff matches combined. This disparity underscores the Caitlin Clark effect on audience engagement and raises serious questions about the league's ability to maintain interest without its brightest star. What makes this viewership spike even more remarkable is the context in which it occurred. Clark's WNBA match pulled in record-breaking numbers on a Sunday, a day typically dominated by NFL games. In the fiercely competitive landscape of American sports viewership, going head-to-head with the NFL and coming out on top is a feat that few sporting events can claim. This achievement speaks volumes about Clark's star power and her ability to transcend the traditional boundaries of women's sports viewership. The contrast becomes even starker when comparing games featuring Clark to those without her. While Clark-led games were breaking viewership records, other WNBA games struggled to reach even a quarter of that audience, averaging around 400,000 viewers. This vast difference in viewership raises concerns about the league's ability to maintain interest across all of its games and teams, not just those featuring its biggest star. To truly appreciate the magnitude of Clark's impact on WNBA viewership, it's essential to consider the league's typical numbers before her arrival. In previous seasons, WNBA games would often struggle to reach 300,000 viewers, with many matches barely breaking the 100,000 mark. Clark's presence didn't just incrementally increase these numbers, it multiplied them several times over, bringing the WNBA into a new realm of visibility and relevance in the crowded sports media landscape.
What she did to bring eyes to that sport. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's just a fact.
Caitlin Clark, but let me tell you something before I get to her. I was mesmerized by her. And I will tell you this. This was the greatest performance I've ever seen in the NCAA tournament, girl or boy. Greatest performance.
The viewership spike wasn't limited to traditional TV audiences either. Social media engagement soared during Clark's games, with highlights and clips of her performances going viral and generating millions of views across various platforms. This digital presence was crucial in bringing the WNBA to a younger, more diverse audience that the league had been struggling to capture. It also provided a new avenue for fan engagement, allowing viewers to interact with the league and its stars in real time.
It's like, wow, Caitlin Clark comes out of Iowa, and I started saying after her junior year in college, like, hey man, she's the biggest star in college sports. And then after what she did at Iowa her senior year, I started saying, hey, I think she's going to be the biggest star in sports. And we've never seen this. This is a woman in America that is going to dwarf the men in terms of popularity and influence,
further deepening their connection to the sport. However, the dramatic difference in viewership between Clark's games and the rest of the league also highlights a potential weakness. The WNBA now faces the challenge of translating Clark's individual popularity into broader support for the league as a whole. As they move forward without Clark in the playoffs, the question remains, can they retain even a fraction of this newfound audience, or will viewers tune out en masse now that the star attraction is no longer playing? League improvements attributed to Clark.
The Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,035 at home, 15,000 on the road. Attendance for the entire league up nearly 50% this year, according to data from across the timeline. And Indiana leads all teams with an average attendance of, like I said, of 17,035. Merchandise sales are up 450%. I'm going to repeat that. Merchandise sales are up 450% for the WNBA, according to Fanatics.
Caitlin Clark's impact extended far beyond viewership numbers and on-court records. Her presence catalyzed significant improvements for the WNBA as a whole, addressing long-standing issues and opening up new opportunities for growth. Perhaps the most notable of these improvements was the league's commitment to chartered flights for teams. After Clark highlighted the travel issues faced by WNBA players, the league committed a staggering $50 million to improve travel arrangements. This was a long-standing problem that players had been vocal about for years, but it took Clark's star power to finally affect change. The financial impact of Clark's presence was equally impressive. Merchandise sales across the league increased by an astounding 450%. While Clark's jerseys were undoubtedly best sellers, the increased interest in the league led to higher sales across all teams and players. This surge in merchandise revenue provided a much-needed financial boost to the league, allowing for increased investment in marketing, player development, and improving the overall fan experience. Clark's popularity also had a significant impact on game attendance, particularly for road games. Teams that had previously struggled to fill even a quarter of their arenas were suddenly playing to packed houses, thanks in large part to fans eager to see Clark play. Road game attendance rose by nearly 50% league-wide, a testament to Clark's ability to draw crowds wherever she went. This increase in attendance not only improved the atmosphere at games, but also provided a financial windfall for teams across the league. These improvements had a ripple effect throughout the WNBA. Higher revenues from merchandise and ticket sales meant more resources for marketing, player development, and improving the overall fan experience. The chartered flights not only made travel more comfortable for players, but also allowed for more rest between games, potentially improving the quality of play across the league. Moreover, Clark's presence attracted new sponsors to the WNBA. Companies that had previously overlooked the league as a marketing opportunity were suddenly clamoring to be associated with the excitement surrounding Clark and women's basketball as a whole. This influx of sponsorship deals provided additional revenue streams and increased exposure for the league, helping to raise its profile in the crowded sports marketplace. The Caitlin Clark effect also extended to media coverage of the WNBA. Games featuring Clark received primetime slots and extensive coverage on major sports networks, bringing the league to the forefront of sports media in a way it had rarely experienced before. This increased visibility not only benefited Clark and her team, but also provided a platform for other WNBA stars to showcase their talents to a broader audience. However, with Clark's early exit from the playoffs, the WNBA now faces the challenge of maintaining these improvements without its brightest star.
And I said, this league is going to get a rude awakening because 2 million, that click, 2 million of their fans just turned the TV back to the NFL.
The league must find ways to leverage the momentum generated by Clark to implement lasting changes and continue its growth trajectory, even in her absence. Criticism and support. While Clark's impact on the WNBA was undeniably positive in many ways, her meteoric rise also sparked controversy and debate within the basketball community. Some WNBA veterans felt overshadowed or underappreciated in the face of the media frenzy surrounding Clark. These players,
from merchandising sales to new sponsorships to television ratings absolutely going through the roof to attendance to sellouts at basketball games to all-star games with record attendance both in person and on television, it is safe to say, North America, that the Caitlin Clark effect has taken over the WNBA.
Many of whom had spent years working to build the league's profile, expressed frustration at what they perceived as disproportionate attention being given to a rookie, however talented she might be. This criticism wasn't just about jealousy or resentment. It raised important questions about equity and recognition in women's sports. Some argued that the focus on Clark was overshadowing the accomplishments of other great players in the league, particularly women of color who had been the backbone of the WNBA for years. They feared that the narrative surrounding Clark might perpetuate harmful stereotypes about who can be a star in women's basketball. However, Clark also garnered significant support from influential figures in the basketball world. Charles Barkley, known for his candid and often controversial opinions, praised Clark's skills in the highest terms. He went so far as to rank her among his top 5 basketball players of all time, putting her in the company of legends like Michael Jordan and Larry Bird.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world.
Oh, you are.
Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA. Don't be petty like dudes. Listen, what she's accomplished, give her flowers. Stop being petty, all you women out there. She got y'all ass charters. She bringing all y'all this money to the table, but y'all being petty like dudes. LeBron, you are 100% right. Y'all girls, stop being petty. Caitlin Clark, thank you for bringing all that money and shine to the WNBA.
Well, they're gonna hate you.
This wasn't just high praise. It was a statement that elevated Clark's status beyond the realm of women's basketball and into the conversation of all-time greats, regardless of gender. LeBron James, one of the most influential voices in basketball today, also weighed in on the Clark phenomenon. He called out what he saw as pettiness from Clark's critics within the WNBA, urging them to appreciate her contributions to the league. James emphasized how Clark's presence was benefiting all WNBA players through increased exposure and resources. Coming from a player of James' stature, this endorsement carried significant weight and helped to legitimize Clark's impact in the eyes of many basketball fans. The divide in opinions about Clark reflects a broader debate within the WNBA community and women's sports as a whole. On one side are those who see her as a once-in-a-generation talent who could elevate the entire league, bringing women's basketball to new heights of popularity and recognition. On the other are those who feel that the focus on Clark overshadows the collective strength of the WNBA and the many great players who have been working to build the league for years. This debate isn't just about Clark as an individual, it's about the future direction of the WNBA. Should the league embrace star power and individual narratives to attract a broader audience, potentially at the cost of promoting team play and league-wide parity? Or should it focus on promoting the collective strength of its athletes and the quality of the game as a whole, even if that means slower growth and less mainstream attention? The resolution of this debate will likely shape the WNBA's strategy and identity for years to come. As the league moves forward, finding a balance between promoting individual stars and maintaining a focus on team play and overall competitiveness will be crucial to its long-term success and growth. The WNBA's missed opportunity. Despite the undeniable boost that Caitlin Clark brought to the WNBA, many critics argue that the league failed to fully capitalize on her star power, potentially squandering a golden opportunity to elevate its profile to unprecedented heights. Instead of making her the face of the league and using her popularity to attract and retain new fans, some feel the WNBA allowed negativity towards Clark to fester, creating a divisive atmosphere that may have alienated new viewers who were primarily tuning in to see Clark play. One of the most glaring examples of this missed opportunity was the league's handling of controversial incidents involving Clark. The alleged eye-poking incident involving Dearica Hamby, for instance, was not addressed to the satisfaction of many fans. The league's approach to such situations left many new viewers feeling that the WNBA wasn't doing enough to protect its biggest star or to create a welcoming environment for the new audience she was bringing in. There's a sense among some observers that the league was caught off guard by Clark's immediate and overwhelming impact. It appeared that the WNBA didn't have a comprehensive strategy in place to leverage her popularity for long-term growth. While Clark was breaking viewership records and selling out arenas, the league seemed hesitant to fully embrace her as the face of women's basketball, perhaps out of fear of alienating other players or disrupting the existing power dynamics within the sport. This cautious approach may have stemmed from a desire to maintain equity and avoid overshadowing other talented players in the league. However, in doing so, the WNBA may have missed out on the full marketing potential of Clark's unprecedented popularity. In the fast-paced world of sports entertainment, where fan attention is fleeting and competition for viewership is fierce, such hesitation can be costly. The WNBA's approach to Clark highlights a delicate balancing act that many sports leagues face: how to promote individual stars without overshadowing the team aspect of the sport or alienating other players. The WNBA's approach to Clark highlights a delicate balancing act that many sports leagues face: how to promote individual stars without overshadowing the team aspect of the sport or alienating other players. In Clark's case, some argue that the league erred too far on the side of caution, missing out on the full marketing potential of her unprecedented popularity. This cautious approach may have stemmed from a desire to maintain equity and avoid creating a perception of favoritism. However, in the competitive landscape of professional sports, where capturing and retaining fan interest is crucial, such hesitation can be costly. The league now faces the challenge of maintaining the interest of newly acquired fans, while also addressing the concerns of longtime supporters who may feel overshadowed by the focus on individual stars. The missed opportunity extends beyond just marketing and promotion. The WNBA could have used Clark's popularity as a springboard to implement broader changes and improvements to the league. This could have included pushing for more primetime TV slots, negotiating better sponsorship deals, or implementing structural changes to improve the overall quality and appeal of the game. Instead, the league often seemed reactive rather than proactive, responding to the Clark phenomenon rather than actively shaping it. Moreover, the WNBA's handling of Clark's rookie season raises questions about its long-term strategy for growth and sustainability. In an era where individual athlete brands can often overshadow entire leagues or teams, the WNBA's reluctance to fully embrace Clark's star power may indicate a deeper uncertainty about how to position itself in the modern sports landscape. As the league moves forward without Clark in the playoffs, it must reckon with these missed opportunities and consider how to better capitalize on future stars who may emerge.
Las Vegas and Seattle had 985,000 viewers. There was another game that held around 830,000 viewers. But I believe game one with Caitlin Clark and the Fever, they pulled in over 1.5 million. And now what happens to that viewership?
Roughly double.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the trend throughout the season, right? I mean, she comes in, takes over the Indiana Fever, craziness, sellout crowds, 769 points, 2 triple doubles in the season. That's important because that had never happened. And she did it twice. Attendance is up like 500% compared to what some of these other games would have pulled, and merchandise up.
The Clark phenomenon has provided valuable lessons about the potential for women's basketball to capture widespread attention and excitement. The challenge now is to translate those lessons into a cohesive strategy for sustained growth and relevance. Looking ahead, challenges and opportunities. As the WNBA moves forward in the post-Clark playoff landscape, it faces a series of critical challenges and opportunities that will shape its future. The league must grapple with the immediate issue of maintaining viewership without its biggest draw. The dramatic drop in audience numbers for games not featuring Clark is a stark reminder of how much work lies ahead in building a consistently engaged fan base. The league must find ways to showcase the talents of its other stars and create compelling narratives that can keep fans invested, even when the most popular players aren't on the court. This could involve more innovative marketing strategies, enhanced social media engagement, or even changes to the game format to make it more exciting for casual viewers. Another key challenge is addressing the divide between Clark's fan base and longtime WNBA supporters. The league needs to find a way to integrate these new fans into the broader WNBA community, while also acknowledging and respecting the dedication of its long-term followers. This may require a delicate balancing act in terms of marketing and promotion, ensuring that no group feels alienated or overlooked. The WNBA also needs to consider how to build on the improvements brought about by Clark's presence. The increased resources, better travel arrangements, and heightened media attention should not be allowed to fade away. Instead, the league should use this momentum to push for lasting changes that can benefit all players and teams. This could include negotiating better broadcast deals, securing more corporate sponsorships, or investing in player development programs to ensure a steady pipeline of exciting talent. Looking to the future, the WNBA must also consider its long-term strategy for growth and sustainability. The Clark phenomenon has shown that there is a significant appetite for women's basketball when presented in the right way. The challenge now is to translate this interest into consistent support for the league as a whole, rather than just for individual star players. This may involve rethinking aspects of how the game is played or presented. For instance, the league could consider rule changes to increase scoring or pace of play, making the game more appealing to casual fans. It might also involve more off-court initiatives, such as community outreach programs or partnerships with other women's sports organizations to build a broader base of support for women's athletics. The WNBA should also focus on player development and marketing to create the next generation of stars. While it may be unrealistic to expect every rookie to have the same impact as Clark, the league can work to identify and promote promising young players, creating storylines and rivalries that can engage fans over the long term. Technology and media strategy will play a crucial role in the WNBA's future success. The league should explore innovative broadcasting techniques, virtual reality experiences, and interactive social media content to make the game more accessible and engaging for a digital native audience. This could help to create a more immersive fan experience and open up new revenue streams for the league. Ultimately, the WNBA's response to the Caitlin Clark effect will be a defining moment in its history. The league has been given a glimpse of what's possible when women's basketball captures the public imagination. Now, it must find ways to sustain and build upon that interest, transforming a moment of unprecedented popularity into long-term growth and stability. The Caitlin Clark phenomenon has brought the WNBA to a crossroads, offering both unprecedented opportunities and daunting challenges. Clark's impact on the league has been nothing short of revolutionary, shattering records, drawing millions of new fans, and demonstrating the immense potential of women's professional basketball. Her brief but spectacular rookie season has given the WNBA a taste of what could be possible with the right combination of star power, marketing, and fan engagement. However, with Clark's early exit from the playoffs, the league now faces the immediate challenge of maintaining the interest of newly acquired fans while also addressing the concerns of longtime supporters. The dramatic drop in viewership for games not featuring Clark underscores the fragility of this recent growth and the work that lies ahead in building a sustainable fan base. The WNBA now has a unique opportunity to learn from the Caitlin Clark effect and implement strategies that can sustain and build upon this momentum. This might involve developing a more robust star-making system that can identify and promote multiple players with broad appeal, investing in innovative broadcasting and social media strategies to make the game more accessible and engaging to a wider audience, and addressing long-standing issues within the league such as player compensation and travel arrangements. The league must also find ways to balance the promotion of individual stars with the overall narrative of team competition and league-wide excellence. While star power clearly draws viewers, the long-term health of the league depends on creating a product that can engage fans even when the biggest names aren't on the court. Furthermore, the WNBA should leverage the increased attention to secure more lucrative sponsorship deals and media rights agreements, ensuring long-term financial stability. The influx of new fans and media attention brought by Clark has shown potential partners the value and reach of women's basketball, opening doors that were previously closed to the league. As the WNBA navigates this crucial period, its actions will have implications that extend far beyond the court. The league's success or failure in capitalizing on the Caitlin Clark effect could impact the broader perception and popularity of women's sports as a whole. A thriving WNBA could serve as a model and inspiration for other women's sports leagues, potentially leading to greater investment and interest across the board. Ultimately, the true test for the WNBA will be whether it can transform the temporary boost provided by Caitlin Clark into lasting growth and stability. This will require strategic thinking, bold decision-making, and a willingness to innovate and take risks. The league must be prepared to challenge long-held assumptions about women's sports and push boundaries in terms of marketing, player promotion, and game presentation. As basketball fans, sports analysts, and league officials watch closely, the WNBA's next moves could determine whether the Caitlin Clark effect becomes a footnote in the league's history or the catalyst for a new era of women's professional basketball. The excitement and attention generated by Clark have shown what's possible when women's basketball captures the public imagination. Now it's up to the WNBA to seize this moment and write the next chapter in its story. The ball, as they say, is now in the WNBA's court. How they play it will shape not just the future of women's basketball, but potentially the landscape of women's professional sports for years to come. As we move forward, all eyes will be on the WNBA, waiting to see how they build on the foundation laid by Caitlin Clark and usher in a new era of growth, excitement, and success for women's basketball.